All right, so I'm having like, ow, I just bumped my elbow. Those horrific technical difficulties that we all know and love because of this stupid Mercury retrograde bullshit. Cool. Invite sent. Pray to God my mic works and there's no other issues. We like it easy. We're trying out here trying to do the Lord's work, so we like not to be hassled every damn day about it. Hopefully she can join me in a moment. I just sent an invite. Making sure everything. Sent an invite. Okay. Okay, so everything should be working out just fine. It looks like it's lining up, but let's see. It says that she's unable to join. Oh my God, we're having massive technical difficulties. This is fun. Trying it again. If not, I'm going to restart this. Because clearly, like, either my app is freaking out or something. My Wi-Fi is connected. There's no reason why I should be having a problem. My nose is itchy. Okay. She said she's on her way. Thank the Lord. So, we're just mugging. So, it is Thursday, Jupiter Day. Everything might feel a little bit blown up. I have 2 bags of tea in here. One's like a blackberry tea. The other one's a yogi tea. It's calming or soothing kava. So that is my intention, is to have a really chill conversation with my girl Pele when she's able to join me. I'm hoping to get a little repetition, more repetition with the human design content because it resonates with my interest in health and wellness. Excellent. She's finally able to at least be in the room. So now I'm going to invite you officially. Sweet. So it's going to be, like I was saying, this topic is going to be conducive to my interests even deeper. So, in a more satisfying conversation. Pele, can you hear me? Excellent. What's up, girl?
Oh, sorry.
We're good.
Bad. I'm happy.
Don't worry about technical difficulties. It's Mercury retrograde. Shit's gonna happen.
Oh, I like these little filters and stuff. Oh,
yeah. We can have fun with that shit. That's one of the reasons why I really like Instagram, because it's eye-catching and people have ADHD and I like long conversations, so it helps people's shit stay focused.
Okay, girl.
So this is my... Okay. I was going to introduce you because it's like, you know, like I know you, but there's things I don't know about you, but I find you extremely fascinating. I've been following you for a long time on Facebook. I started following you because of my girlfriend Janina, who can't come because it's her husband's birthday today. So happy birthday, Alex. But anyway, so Pele to me is a human design master, like one of the most fluent in the language that I've ever met. And she's also a cancer survivor. So she's also used this in a very vital way that's real in her own life. So for multiple reasons, tying these bits of knowledge together is one of my favorite things as a Gemini. I like connections. So she's also a Gemini moon, so she gets it. It's emotionally satisfying to get to the bottom of this information. So I like sharing data with her. She's one of my favorite people, and it's been a minute since we connected. It's like since the fall. So maybe it's time to hit it again. I got my hot tea. You got your cold water. That's what's up. I I I can't hear you for some reason. Is your
Sorry, I
mic?
have my phone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, girl.
It's always fun to do stuff with you, and I feel like both of our energy is so expansive that we could touch a lot of people just having a discussion. So that's my intention, is to open up some doors in people's minds. I want to fuck up some paradigms.
Let's go, girl. Let's go.
When I first started talking to you, I was locked in a box mentally. I was going through some shit. So it was one of the things that I wanted to ask you that I didn't send you pre ahead of time was how on earth did you reach the place that you could hold space for people like you hold space for me? Where'd that come from? And did it tie in with your beginning with human design, or is that just something that you've always been taking steps towards?
I think more than anything, to be honest with you, I'm not going to respond to stuff that don't physically, viscerally satisfy me. So first and foremost, like what holds space is honestly, I don't even know I'm holding space. To be honest with you, I'm just really content with my response. If my body is in it, my body is invested, then I'm energetically in tuned, and then I'm in it. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like I need to prepare. It doesn't feel like I need to force myself to engage. I just naturally am there, just like I'm naturally here today. Like I'm not gonna lie, I just prepared like last minute, just being very natural. And I was like, I read over things and reviewing some things, and I was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm responding. Like my response needs to be natural. If my response is not natural, then I'm not gonna be there.
Which is honestly one of the things that I think is really hard for people to learn. That's because that's one of the biggest bits of feedback that I get ever since I started being louder and making more videos and making more content where I'm just talking instead of having the cards be the subject or astrology be the sole subject. Like showing more about the way my brain works and how all of these things are tying together at once, which human design does in its own way. But I feel like what am I trying to say? I feel like authenticity is rare. It's getting more and more louder to the point where people are craving it. That's the most feedback that I get from other people. That's the bounce back that I hear the most, is you're being you, and that's great. Like, and people aren't present with their bodies enough to feel themselves make a decision from that place. And I know I wasn't always there, so I find it fascinating that it's so. I don't know if you ever struggled with that, unlocking that inside yourself.
You mean with authenticity or
all of it, like just like expressing it, identifying it with it first, and then being able to express it. Those are separate steps. So
I used to be a people pleaser back in the day.
I
used to be a
never
people
know.
pleaser. Yeah, because like I used to feel like in order to accept me, I'm gonna conform a little bit. And then that conformity would turn into eventual fucking rebellion if I'm not allowed to be authentic. But it's not their fault. It's easy to want to resent someone else or blame someone else or make them seem like they're the reasons why I can't be authentic. That's bullshit. I had to finally wake up on myself, because awareness is not a natural thing for generators and manifesting generators. We're very powerful. but we're not very aware. Not very aware. You're laughing, but I'm just serious.
No, I know because
We
I've lived it.
That's why we're so easy to manipulate. We're so
Oh
easy to
God.
manipulate because we're not the most aware. We are the
Mm-hmm.
most powerful, but not the most aware. And eventually, when we become aware, that's when we are able to like allocate our power appropriately. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
To become a more
that's
fluid.
the thing. I feel like it is the most. I don't know what my audience is as far as the people who are responding to me, but I feel like they're feeling something in their bodies and they're identifying with that, and what they're responding to is that authenticity, and they're not understanding how to um, even step outside of that those first initiating steps of people pleasing, going from people pleasing to being more authentic and taking up more space and checking in with the body. So I
Right.
think you're
Because a lot of people
my
don't know
favorite
how to use their
example.
body. A lot of people
Mm.
don't know how to use their body appropriately. A lot of folks actually come from a place that's usually in their mind or their emotions and moods and feelings, but they're not really in their body.
And
I'm
they act like it's revolutionary, it I think it's very head turning. It disturbs a space like none other.
What does?
Just the act, like the more I've moved into to checking in with my body, I feel like it calls it more attention to my body from other people who aren't conscious of theirs, if that makes sense. So I feel like they don't understand the sort of all my centers are defined. So I'm really understanding that when I make a internal declaration, a decision, it pulls molecules around me tighter in a different way than other people would. But so I feel like the more I lean into that, the more attention it gets me in a certain light, and I didn't expect that because I'm feeling more embodied. The body does get more attention. It doesn't. You don't have to show skin. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fullness in a room, in a space that catches attention.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
A lot of people are not tapped into understanding their body and why the body is so much more important than the mind and the brain. Well, I shouldn't say the brain because the brain is part of the body, but I'm talking about more than the software of the brain, which is called the mind, which is like the mind can be very loud, repetitious, fantastical. You know what I mean? And then
Monkey
your
mind.
your emotions and moods and feelings are very lingering. So, but the body is demanding. The body is very powerfully in the now. It's not gonna lie ever. It's gonna say no. You'll feel it. The resistance, it doesn't want to do something. Even if it has to tie your stomach up in knots and make you feel gassy and tired, or just absolutely emotionally and I'm sorry, energetically drain you to get your attention, they'll do that too. So my
Do you
body, I
think people
respect
are
my
afraid?
what?
Do you think people are afraid to feel into
Um,
that, and that's part of the problem?
well, I don't think that's part of it. Well, it can be because everyone varies, but I think a lot of the time the mind has been given so much alleged power. There's no power in your mind. There's no power in the mind. The
It's all
mind can't.
ghosts.
The mind can't energetically power up anything. You know, you heard all of our lives we've been told knowledge is power, knowledge is power, knowledge is power. No, it's not. You can know a lot of things and you still can't follow through on it. It won't transform your life. You can freaking read 1,000 books. That doesn't mean that makes you a better person. Doesn't mean that it makes you feel better and live better
Facts.
either. You're just full of freaking information. Okay, cool. But transformation actually comes from the form. Form is body, the full body. You know what I mean? The full embodiment of you. You can't transform without the form. It doesn't say trans mind.
Facts.
It doesn't say trans. You know what
Fuck
I mean?
yeah.
It
That's
doesn't. It
right.
doesn't any of that.
That's fucking right. So I feel like that transform takes a consciousness of identification of form, and the consciousness is an action of a body, and in some ways I feel like maybe engaging that with healthy selfishness, making sure everybody's day runs first upon how they're doing. And then, it's that whole, airplane thing where, you put the mask on yourself and then others. If you're trying to help somebody, truly, you have to fill your cup up first. And I feel like people, myself included, it took me a really long time to identify the initial steps to that, or the car being at the top of the hill before it really gets momentum and it's out of control, and you're overgiving and frustrated and lost. It's like learning how to catch that early took so much time for me. And I don't know if that's a 3-5 thing.
I think it's a human thing. I think there are more people that are not self than they are people that are their true, authentic self. There are far more people that are out here that are not self, that are not eating correctly, that are not living in the correct environment, that are not making the decisions correctly, that are not telling the truth, that are still battling with worthiness. A lot of people are still battling for worthiness with among other people's eyes, versus just honestly accepting their worth for what it is. I'm one of those people. You have a defined ego. I have an open ego. I'm not here to prove myself ever. So I don't.
I love that so much. It's so inspiring to me, because it's something I can't divorce from. There's just motors running all the time inside me that way, where it's not coming from somewhere else. It's coming from me because it's just on. So I love hearing the experience. I've never spoken to somebody with all their centers defined. I haven't found anybody. I've been looking. You would. You've talked to more people.
Oh, of course.
I don't know if we all have the same presence or reaction in a room, but it's just, anyway, that's not even where I wanted to go with this. I wanted to ask you a second ago, when and how did you get fed up with being an overgiver, going through cycles of frustration, not treating your body right? What was the light bulb? Because you wear it so well. I had no idea. It's like one of those things. It's like it doesn't come up in your energy at all. Like, so it doesn't seem. I wouldn't read that on you whatsoever.
Well, for me, was on my second marriage. I've been married 3 times. So my second marriage was where I was like, I'm good. This was around roughly 2014-ish, like the end of 2013 or beginning of 2014. It was the end of 2013. Was over that marriage. I was done. I was in the wrong environment. I was in a wrong relationship. I wasn't just wrong, making wrong decisions. This time I just put all my chips in and was like, I'm going to go ahead and move forward, because I was diagnosed. I was living in Houston, Texas at the time. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to alleviate all the problems that are contributing to the issues of my body. And my spirit on top of that. So, and my overall being and energy, I was like, let go of this relationship, let go of this environment, let go of pretty much all of that I was a part of at that time. And I said, I'm going to put it all into human design. What do I got to lose? I mean, I can lose, pretty much. It was a position. I was in a position where doctors were wanting me to surgically remove my breasts. Right. And also go over with chemo. And I'm like, no, I'm good. That's my erogenous zone, first and foremost. That's like my highest erogenous zone. My highest erogenous zone are my breasts. And I was like, I'm good. First generation American. I have relatives, which is pretty much my uncle, as well as my grandmother on my father's side, who had cancer. Different types of cancers, but still they had cancer. They were living and thriving with cancer. But as soon as they went, they took chemo for the first time, they died.
Yeah. People will respond very poorly to it.
Right. So, and on top of that, I'm an A blood type. So I was like, no, we're prone to cancers anyways. And so let me just go ahead and correct this.
I love your story so much because the wisdom of just being able to, as an option, is to take charge of your physical like that. Not many people are, because all of my family is nurses. So, I've been around hospitals, I've been around nursing, I've been around people who take orders and don't question things. And all my family are absolutely the opposite. They will question a doctor to tears. So I appreciate it when somebody will be like, you know what, this treatment is not acceptable for me and my body. So that's one of the things I get so inspired, because it's like a wake up call to other people who are listening, that there's options. They get stuck in a lack of options. This is the only way. I have to get cut. I have to do surgery, when there's so many other options out there. If you just sort of listen to your body, get to know it, if through other pieces of information like human design, which I'm learning how in depth it really is, even still going back over the sessions we've had with before previously from the fall. Like, it's astounding the types of, well, I wish I had shut up a lot more through those sessions, number one, but I'm like a mouth listener. That's horrible. But number one, but I really did love I drink, and take more hot foods now in general, and I feel and I'm doing intermittent fasting again, and it's just like having those little tweaks in my system, in my body. I'm a lot more harmonious feeling. My hormones, can still use a little bit more work, but my periods have gotten better. So I'm listening also to the fact that you told me drinking is like one of the worst things I can do for my physical. So it's something I've been separating myself from. So it's like a whole thing where it was a life changer for me to listen to not just that data, but the way you've worn it, the way you've utilized it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up today. So yeah, we're basically, yeah. So what do you say? Do you encounter resistance when you're talking to people in your sessions when it comes to making life changes like that? Is that, or are they really in the space where they want to hear and they know what they might hear in a human design session? Because sometimes, tarot reading, I will struggle with my clients to have, when it comes to advice that does come out for them. So it's like, I don't have time, I don't have the freedom to do this, and they might start making excuses. That's what that kind of thing.
I'm going to be honest, I can't care. I'm only there. I'm not allowed to. It's not my life. To be honest with you, I share exactly the data of how your genes are created. I mean, we're already taught in human design, our genes hate us. Why? Our genes hate us because we do everything than what we're created to do. And all I'm supposed to do as an analyst is to show you exactly how your genetic imprint actually works, and how you are perfect by design, and how you align appropriately. And then if you decide to veer off of that, that's on you. I'm not built to care. I'm not built to rationalize. I'm not built to even respond to that. I don't have to respond to that at all. I'm not in a place. I'm just not in a place of convincing. That's not my thing. My thing is, you pay me to break down your human design analysis. What you do with it is your prerogative. That's it. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I'm
no
not
coaching.
Here. I'm no different than a doctor. Except when I say no different than a doctor, I mean I'm no different than a doctor. All a doctor can do is prescribe you and give you exactly the prescription of, if you were sick or whatever.
Nobody's holding your hand.
And then you're on your merry way. It's up to you to fill it. It's up to you to take care of yourself. The independence, you got to understand, when you pick up your human design, you're alone. You're absolutely alone. You are alone.
Oh my God. One of the first questions I asked is their compatibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not, this system is not for sheep. It's for lone wolves. So there's only a few wolves out there that's going to want to even care about this kind of stuff. A lot of the times with human design, I'm really trying to get into the hands of children, because children are not as jaded. Children are not as programmed. Children are not as conditioned. Children are not dealing with a preponderance of excessive thoughts.
That's facts.
Yeah, so like the sooner I can get it to children, the better. Because then they can know how exactly to operate as themselves and they move on. They enjoy, they don't take their life as serious.
I'll send your name to some of my moms, and they have kids that are between the ages of 14 and like 5.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Because I am going to definitely be opening it up. I've been actually asking folks why they're not taking care of their children. And a lot of them are saying money, but I'm going to be fucking honest with you. Bullshit. You guys, a lot of you all are buying your children bullshit shoes that don't transform their fucking life. You know what I mean? Like bullshit shoes for 200, $300. And it's like, all right. So if it's the price, then fine. I'll work with it. I'll go ahead and make the adjustment. But to me, it's like, if it really mattered to you, if your children matter to you and so forth, I'm not trying to guilt per se.
yeah,
It's just more so like if you really want to know how your children actually align appropriately as themselves, you make the investment.
I
So
feel like
people gotta care. I cannot care for
that's
you. I'm not that this
valid.
is not a I'm not babysitting adults. You're gonna have to really want to make a change for yourself. Not I'm not here for that. I'm here to break down your how you to prevent DNA damage with your genetic imprint, and that's basically it.
It's gangster. So your mission is gangster as fuck.
I'm
And
just
I love that it doesn't go home with you in a way, metaphorically. That's
no.
freedom. That's dope.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, like that's just not my job. I'm not. It's not my weight. It's not my burden. I'm not in their bodies, and I'm not
mm,
in their lives. That's their life to live. That's what I'm not. What I do. I'm not a manifester. I'm a generator. I am responding. That's it. I have a
I don't
respondability. Then I'm done.
I
I'm
don't
done
have
with that.
kids. Going back to the kids thing, so I don't have kids, so I'm curious what it does to a family that you've seen, to know more and unlock those things about their children, and what it can do to help juggle family life when everybody has each other's maps in front of them and they can respect it and foster it better and speak to
Well,
it, acknowledge it.
ideally, you know, if you give people their imprint, and they'll rather find excuses instead of finding ways to make adjustments to take care of everyone. You have that, but then there are other families that make excuses and have their own valid reasons, because again, I don't live their life, whether it be financial, whether it be livability, whatever the lifestyle, and so on and so forth. I, to be honest with you, when it comes to human design, we're not built to get along, because this is the science of differentiation. When you're dealing with a bunch of differences, the differences, like people want a likeness. Everybody wants this likeness, and it's not how
My
you know what I
mind
mean.
is
Let's make it easy. Let's all be uniform. Let's all be on the same page. Let's all be on this, one accord. And that's just not reality. Reality is we're all very different. Everybody eats differently. Everybody sleeps differently. Everybody perceives the world differently, and so on and so forth. Those nuances is what I do as an analyst, break down the nuances. Now, it's important for everyone else to figure out the creativity of how they're going to make that work. Can it work? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not hard.
yeah.
It's not hard. You can make it. It doesn't take a whole bunch of budgeting. It doesn't take a bunch of, yes, you might have to sit down and coordinate and respect everyone. If you really respect
Yeah, it's
everyone's
respect, really.
individuality, then you can work still collaboratively with those differences and nuances all the time. I mean, you deal with that shit all the time with friends and family, or there's been many successes when it comes
As
to
you were
this.
speaking just now, it just really solidified in my brain a categorization, something, an understanding of assimilating human design. The Hermeticism is all about the one. One is all is one. Unity, like it's assimilation in the greater. And this is the individuation. So this is like a way of God. Explains how God is looking at himself through the universe. This is looking at the partitions. This is looking at the separations, and that's what makes it so beautiful. And I couldn't quantify that, and I couldn't spit that out before. It was something that's foreign to me in the language, because I've been what's the word, conditioned with the unity consciousness, speak language consciousness, metaphors, of the new age shit. This is not new age shit. This is something else entirely. This is the word design is a perfect word for this. Human design, but there is spiritual aspects to this, but it's so tangible. It's so tangible in unexpected ways, and I'm still getting my head around understanding it, because the language itself is so particular, and the words are exact. The language, it's not regular English. It's like poetry in a way, in its own way, like beat poetry. It's not like Shakespeare poetry. It's beat poetry. He's a beat poet. So raw. So I don't know. Going back, I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to leave anything out, but we're pretty much at the end of that anyway. Like we cover pretty much everything I was hoping to cover, but I did because I have thought about it several times. You did mention blood type 2 as well when you were talking about your own blood type when it comes to eating for human design, and in your health and crossing that over. And I'm fascinated by blood type and eating, and making sure that you're listening to every aspect of your body. Now, have you noticed any patterns with blood type and human design yet? I've mentioned that before, and I don't know if there's like circumstantial evidence or some type of correlations that you've noticed.
I mean, human design, when it covers the way you eat and so forth, it's all about digestion, right? And digestion is very different from just regular old blood type, because the digestive system involves your immune system, your brain system,
every system.
Right. It's more than just blood alone.
Yeah.
The blood type diet and so forth is quite helpful from my personal experience, but I would recommend everyone to experiment. I have come across old blood types who are trying to be vegan and so forth, and it didn't work out because they are types that definitely require a little bit more red meat, more game, and so forth, just out of example. And with us, and then different blood types allegedly deal with different types of ailments. But with human design, it's so unique. And the thing I love about it is that it specifies it down to your actual DNA. So even with your blood type,
that's sexy. That's so good.
Yeah, you hone in specifically to someone's actual makeup, how they because the way human design actually breaks it down, how you digest your food, breaks it down in a subatomic physics fashion of how you digest your food appropriately. Because I guarantee you, people that have all old blood types with this old blood type diet does not digest their food the same. So
my mother's an O negative. I've watched it. She's a vegetarian, she eats nothing but peanut butter and bread, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm B negative, I think. So
and I'm A negative, and it's like I don't really need a lot of what others that of a certain blood type and certain digestive system and so forth. There's so many different nuances, but I mean, I don't knock it. I request people to definitely experiment, but on the human design side, see how you can synthesize the two if you want to, but trust your decision making when you want to synthesize it or not. If you want to synthesize it, go for it. If you don't, by all means, you don't have to. But with human design,
I think it's fascinating.
It's about digestion for us.
Yeah, that's when I have what I've experienced. I have dropped inches eating more hot food, and my heartburn that I was experiencing, along with the intermittent fasting too, that always takes care of heartburn issues too. But I feel like in general, I'm, like you said, absorbing more nutrients now. Yeah. So I don't feel like I'm getting Charlie horses as much. And I do eat a magnesium-rich diet, and then I supplement as well. But I feel like I'm just more balanced in every single way, just changing the temperature of my fucking food. The other day I tried to eat a salad, and I rejected it in 2 bites. I was just like, the body does not like this.
Yeah, it's not
Moving
even
on.
just the temperature. It's the fact that your digestive system cannot digest enzymes. It does not, it cannot, like you can't be eating food. Folks like yourself that are hot thirst, you need the nutrients extracted by being allowing it to be cooked. Okay, so you need to be having, and like, so whatever herb, whatever like spicy food, you need all your food cooked to extract it. So if it's a peach, you need to cook that peach into something to extract the nutrients from it. Same from any protein, animal protein, any vegetables and so forth, you need to cook it to break down the enzymes to extract the nutrients, and then you eat it from there. Soup and all that good stuff, because I'm the opposite. I need it unmanipulated. I need it pretty much as the raw, the better. The more when it comes to fruits and salads, I can eat that. But remember, like, I just to give you an example, there's transference. I'm meant to eat in the day,
Right.
have the sun hit me so I could eat and digest my food better cold, versus you eating and staying up. You're meant to be more nocturnal. So you're meant to be more of a night body and a night owl so that you can eat hot in the cool of the evening or the night, so that and it just feels so much better. But I know that you usually go to bed pretty early and then wake up.
I do. It's something I've done since not always. It was like early 30s that I started being a morning person. And I do like waking up early in the morning and having my time in the dark to process myself and chill. I need that to feel sane. But I did used to love being awake at night, and that was one of the reasons why I got into astrology harder than ever, was just the stars and meteor showers and just enjoying. That was my one of my biggest ways to contemplate life, was being in the dark. So I spent most of my life up at night.
Nice. Yeah, no, like I need to stop staying up as late. I need to go actually to bed pretty early and then wake up, so that I can have I really am only supposed to be up majority of the day, and at night I need to be in bed. I need to exhaust myself to the point that I'm asleep at night. And you're the opposite. You know what I mean? Like during the day you should be asleep, and during the evening during all of the night you should be up.
Sometimes admitting that I'm super wired and can't sleep, and I have forced creative evenings where I'm like kind of just writing things, notes, having thoughts, and it is what it is, and I'll be tired, but because I'll have things to do the next day. But it is what it is. Like it's just my design needing a little break, come up for air, let the cork float.
I'm just really happy and glad that your design is working in your favor, because our designs don't lie to us. It's us that lie to us. So that's wonderful.
It's just taking those little baby steps and taking it seriously, and making sure that you're loving yourself into it, and you're keeping an open mind and making sure you're staying flexible. This is something I realized, niching myself in any way, shape, or form, or getting stuck in a typecast, or thinking who locked in the thought of who I think I am, is not going to work for me, because it's going to change always. So allowing myself just to expand always is going to be what I have to do, and that's been so much more satisfying to just change a thought pattern, much less how I eat or whatever. But it's like the shooting. One of the astrologers I watched calls it shooting yourself. Shooting yourself to death. Like it's like just creating a mess, an accident. And so the more I celebrate my messiness and my growth and divergence and zigzagging and the nonlinear, it's a lot more satisfying, a lot more relaxing. Yesterday I just went and laid in the grass, and people don't really lay in the grass at my mobile home park. There's like a little patch of grass, and people just kind of avoid the grass, but there was like little kids like, "Mom, there's a lady in the grass." Like,
that's so cute.
And I just smiled. I was like, yeah, there's a lady in the grass. Just little things. Like I've been just doing more zigzagging, and if I get a whim, like if it's safe, innocent, got the time to do it, I spread out a little bit. And it's doing the job of bringing more creative thoughts, more air, and more space for other people, because I'm doing little healthy, selfish things like that. So, I just, I want to spread that around to people who might follow me, especially because it feels like that's what they're responding to the most, is these little baby changes that I've made due to the conversations that we've had. And I want to hopefully continue to sew these things together philosophically, and like make it bigger, do the expansion. Hopefully, acknowledging people's differences will actually bring everybody together, and like actually have more respect, because that's really what the issue is. Men and women are hurting because we all of us feel like we have thankless jobs and roles in life. So let's fix that through respect, and like this, like you said, the differences, identifying that, and really respecting that, really getting into it, and figuring out how people work is in just the circuitry is. Why not? Why the fuck? Why wouldn't we want to invest in that? Fuck. So
no, I totally hear you. And it's bound to happen. There are those that'll come together, they'll come together naturally. And then there are those that just don't care to come together because their design is telling them another thing. So it's like, we do our best. This is why I have such an individualized situation, because it was like a lot of people want me to, I'm not a teacher. I make that very clear all the time. I am not a teacher. I'm a trigger. I'm not a teacher. I'm not here to teach. If anything, I'll just teach by example. But for the most part, though, when it comes to people,
your example is beautiful, though. I want everybody to follow you on Facebook, because the way you get your thoughts out, I
thank you,
aspire
dear.
to write. It's to take time and write like you do. I can write. I'm a decent writer. I just don't take the time to do it like you do. And the way we do your music profiles lately, it's just it's giving my sacral like blooming. It's like there's no boundaries. There's no artistic boundaries. None.
Oh, and I love that about you as well. I've been noticing you popping, girl. I've been noticing it's hard to get a woman's attention, but you've been getting my attention, not out of biasness, out of authenticity. And I was like, okay, she is showing up for herself. And then for showing up for yourself also shows up for others. But girl, no, like the best we can do is honestly just honor and respect others, but like don't be just more than anything is respecting ourselves individually, away from the crowd, away from everyone else, as much as we'd want them to transform and align as themselves. All we can do really is I can't really concern myself with that. Let me explain why, because it'll drive me crazy at being concerned about like, hey, are you transforming? Hey, are you eating correctly? Hey, are you in the right environment? Hey, are you did it? It's like, nah. My strength in my body and my intuition will only go so far. And it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with that. It doesn't even have to necessarily do with time. It just has a lot to do with my body. My body will say yay or nay. It's like,
it's not for you.
Yeah. Like, it's just that as third lines, we don't want to keep martyring ourselves. I don't want to be a martyr, for the wrong things. So like for
obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like 12 or 13, I read Fox's Book of Martyrs, because I've always been obsessed with martyrs.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a very, very deep read for now I'm thinking back, kind of for that age, but I read it from cover to cover, and I felt it in my soul, where the conviction and the dedication, when you make a decision to do something, you go all the way. You don't let anybody push you aside from that, regardless of whatever could happen. So when we first, that's the philosophy I've had from forever. So coming into once you decided to have those conversations with me, knowing that it was your time and energy that you were giving me, took it 100%, 200%, like, seriously. So I reassembled, and like I'm still reassembling, but it's like the pieces are falling in, and in a place that feels much more satisfying. So I feel so grateful for every time we are in touch, because the way you trigger the authenticity growth in people is valuable. beyond
Oh,
words. Like,
thank you
I'm going to
so
start
much.
crying. I don't want
Yeah.
to.
And you're so important for the future because of your psychic abilities. Like, don't sleep on my girl. My girl is extremely receptive. She's very psychic and tapped in. So what she's, usually when you are really tapped in and you foresee something, or your foresight and forethought of things is
They'll
way
figure
ahead
it
of
out.
schedule, and people have to catch up to it. Well, it's not people, it's usually time.
Yeah.
Time and life has to catch up to it.
No, these people who are watching my videos from months ago will start seeing things start to pop up that I said. They'll start seeing the repetition,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll figure it out. They don't know yet,
No,
but they'll
you're incredible. You are incredible. I love you so much. And like, I just appreciate the fact that you understand that the work that I do is just really not even, it's not necessarily even for me. You know what I mean?
no.
Like,
We don't
I'm
do
just
this for us.
responding.
It's not for us. We do it in a way that we can sustain the energy. But these are messages that come from somewhere else for a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
that's the
so like, I
alignment.
mean, it's very logical when it comes to human design. It's so logical, and logic is literally just a pattern that actually works moving forward to the future. That's it. So when it comes to a logical system such as human design, all I'm doing is literally breaking down something quite detailed, exhaustively as best as possible about you, so that you can move forward on to the future as yourself.
And
That's all
honestly,
we
what's
really want.
more flattering than hearing about yourself at that depth? What is more like a song than hearing about yourself? So I feel like anybody who's been thinking about working with you, because I know some people, Janina. She's gonna watch this. Janina, call her because it's like time. But anybody who might be watching this, call my girl, because the way she lays things out, makes sense of things. It's hard, but the words don't come out the way I want them to right now because I'm so excited. But I'm 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 pretty smart. Okay, I can assemble information. I'm pretty intuitive on my own. I'm not dumb. But when I talk to her, um, I could see my blind spots suddenly where I couldn't see them before.
Mhm.
So it's not about being dumb or being not, or like needing like help. Well, it's like helpful, but it's not like not at a place of need. It's like the type of information that comes out of this is oh my god, it's different than the way I deliver information. It's so much more real, so much more tangible, so much more practical. It's like a list A B C D. It's something you can actually take and use and bite and digest, and like it's real. It's like,
Mhm.
like, not to say that what I do isn't real. It's real in a different way, but it's real here, it's here, out here a lot. But this
Mhm.
is everything to do with the body. And if you're feeling like you don't even know that side of yourself, um, my God, it's so valuable. And the way you deliver the information makes it so tangible, so real, and it's functional. And one of my things, I love working out functionally. So why wouldn't I want to use something like human design functionally,
Mhm.
to where it's
Mhm.
building towards something, making an empire out of it? So, anyway, I could gush about the way you work, but my mind is literally not working the way I want it to verbally, like giving me the right English words. So,
Okay.
I figure I can just take a breath here. We've covered everything that I had written on the paper.
Oh,
So,
good. Right on.
and then some.
It was
So,
a pleasure.
it
It was
was a
definitely a pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you
And
so much
hopefully,
for always considering a woman and actually inviting me. This was a wonderful conversation.
I'd love to do it again soon, and we'll continue to build off of whatever comes up in the collective that needs to be answered, hopefully, and see what we can tap in and how we can help people, because like I feel like our energy is stable in a world where femininity is not being expressed stably, even though
Oh,
even though we're zigzaggy, even though we make choices, even though we expand, even though we change. I feel like the type of information that you and I deliver is unique, and it comes from God. It comes from real places, spiritually to be delivered for a purpose. So the higher purpose is engaged. There's a mission here. So I feel like really lit up about it. So there'll be more subjects down the road, and we'll figure it out.
You're the best, my love. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you
all.
so much for your time. I love you. Thank you for everybody for who's listening. I appreciate you guys. I'll be linking all of Pele's information in the description box, wherever this is. So follow her. I love you guys.
Peace, y'all.
I love you. Thank you.
Love you. Bye, honey.
Bye.